Hey, Michael with X-Force PC. Want to talk about a subject that keeps coming up, and you may or may not know a lot of the videos I do come out of customer questions. We get the same question a bunch of times. We tend to make a video about it, and that's what we're doing here. So this has to do with putting your G1000 into a window that you can then drag onto a different or auxiliary monitor. So most people probably know if you click on the 530, the 430, the PFD, or the MFD, it'll put it up into a box like this. This is what I call a box. But you cannot drag it outside of X-Plane. You can't drag it to another monitor that doesn't have X-Plane on it, unless you put it into its window. So you take it from being a box to a window. So if you click in the upper right hand corner, if you hover over it, you'll see these little boxes. And if you click on them, it will put the MFD or whatever 530, 430 PFD into a window. But we have a lot of customers say, the window disappeared. Where did it go? It vanished. Every time I try to put it into a window, it goes away. It didn't go away. As you may or may not know, when you're running a full screen program in Windows and you have a concept of background and foreground programs, X-Plane is in the foreground, and unfortunately the G1000 is in the background. And if I hit the Windows key on the keyboard, it brings up the taskbar. If I go down to the taskbar and I hover my mouse over the top of the X-Plane icon, I can see all the different windows associated with X-Plane. We got the front, left, and right, and then we have the MFD over here. And I can just click on it to bring it back into the foreground. And so here it is. And again, if I were to click somewhere like in the sky, it goes back behind X-Plane again. And now I can't see it anymore because it's in the background. But I can just hit the Windows key, go down here, hover over, and click, and then I've brought it back to the foreground again. Now, if that bothers you, and by the way, now that it's in a window, I can take and I can drag it, down here to this other monitor that you see right down here. But if that bothers you, one thing you can turn off is something called VSync in the graphics options. So I just go to the graphics options, and in the lower left corner of the graphics options, you see a setting, a checkbox for VSync. And if I turn off VSync, and then I click, and then I put the MFD into a window, it stays on top. So only with VSync turned on do you have the problem of the window, and you can do this also with the map. You can put the map into a window. Same thing, and you can drag it to another screen. But only with VSync turned on do we have this problem of X-Planes immediately sending the window to what we call the background or behind X-Plane. So it's just something to be aware of. Now VSync is probably something you do want turned on unless you have variable refresh rate monitors, and VSync and G-Sync and all the variable refresh, that's a whole different video. I think I've actually done one on that, and I'm not going to get into it here. The bottom line is, if you go to put your G1000 530, 430 map into a window to drag to another screen and it vanishes or closes, all it's doing is actually going behind X-Plane, and you've just got to bring it back to the front. And that's a Windows skill. That's not really an X-Plane skill. And again, just hit the little Windows key on the keyboard, and that'll bring your task bar up, and then you can hover over X-Plane and you can see all the windows associated with X-Plane. And you could also see if there's any extraneous windows that you're not aware of. Sometimes we'll have people that'll have like 2 front views or 2 right views, and they're eating up their frame rate by drawing an extra view that they don't need. But that, again, I have another video on that as well. Hopefully this helps you get over any confusion over why the G1000 or the 530 or the 430 keeps disappearing or closing whenever you put it into a window.